Welcome, beautiful souls, to Feminine Blueprint. I'm so happy to be connecting with you all today on a topic that's close to my heart, building unshakable self-worth. We all crave that deep sense of worthiness, that feeling of knowing we are enough just as we are. But so often, life's challenges, societal expectations, and our own inner critic can chip away at our self-belief. That's why I'm excited to share this step-by-step guide with you. It's a roadmap to reclaiming your power, embracing your authentic self, and stepping into the radiant, powerful woman you were born to be. So, let's dive right in, shall we? The journey to unshakable self-worth begins with self-awareness. It's about turning inward, shining a light on all those beautiful, messy, complex parts of who we are. Think of self-awareness as the foundation of a strong, resilient building. You can't build on shaky ground, can you? You need a solid understanding of your values, your beliefs, your strengths, and yes, even your shadows. When we take the time to understand ourselves deeply, without judgment, we begin to cultivate a deep sense of self-acceptance. We start to see that our imperfections, our quirks, our vulnerabilities are not things to be ashamed of, but rather integral parts of what makes us unique and whole. So, how do we cultivate self-awareness? It starts with paying attention. Pay attention to your thoughts, your emotions, your reactions to situations and people. As you delve deeper into self-awareness, you'll start to notice patterns in your thoughts and behaviors. Some of these patterns might be serving you well, while others might be holding you back from experiencing true self-worth. This is where the real magic happens. Once you're aware of these patterns, you have the power to choose. You can choose to let go of limiting beliefs and embrace empowering ones. You can choose to step into your authenticity, even when it feels scary. Remember, authenticity is not about perfection. It's about showing up as your true self, with all your imperfections and vulnerabilities. It's about honoring your values and living a life that is aligned with who you truly are at your core. And here's the beautiful thing. When you embrace your authentic self, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple effect of courage and vulnerability that spreads far beyond yourself. Now, I know that the word vulnerability can bring up a lot of discomfort. We live in a culture that often equates vulnerability with weakness. But I'm here to tell you, vulnerability is not weakness. It's courage. It takes courage to be vulnerable, to show up authentically, to let ourselves be seen, truly seen, for who we are. It takes courage to let go of the need for perfection and embrace our imperfections with love and compassion. But here's the thing about vulnerability. It's the birthplace of connection, of belonging, of true joy. When we allow ourselves to be vulnerable, we open ourselves up to deeper, more meaningful relationships with others. So as you continue on this journey of self-awareness, I encourage you to embrace your vulnerability. Show up authentically, even when it feels scary, because it's in those moments of vulnerability that we truly discover our strength. Self-acceptance. It's a phrase we hear a lot, but what does it truly mean? It doesn't mean resigning ourselves to mediocrity or ignoring areas where we want to grow. It's about looking at ourselves, the good, the bad, the messy, and saying, this is me, and I'm worthy of love and belonging, just as I am. It's about recognizing that our imperfections, our scars, our stories, are not things to be ashamed of, but rather threads in the rich tapestry of our lives. Imagine for a moment the freedom that comes with letting go of the need to be perfect. Imagine the energy you'll have when you're no longer constantly criticizing yourself, comparing yourself to others, or striving to meet impossible standards. One of the biggest obstacles to self-acceptance is comparison. In today's world, with social media constantly bombarding us with curated images of perfection, it's easy to fall into the trap of comparing ourselves to others. We start to believe that we're not good enough, thin enough, successful enough, happy enough. We lose sight of our own unique gifts and talents, focusing instead on what we perceive to be lacking. But here's the truth. Comparison is a thief of joy. It robs us of our present moment, keeps us trapped in a cycle of negativity and self-doubt. The next time you find yourself comparing yourself to someone else, take a deep breath and gently remind yourself that your journey is your own. You are not in competition with anyone else. So how do we cultivate self-acceptance in a world that often feels designed to make us feel inadequate? It starts with self-compassion. Think of how you would treat a dear friend who is struggling with self-doubt. You wouldn't berate them or judge them, would you? You would offer them kindness, understanding, and support. Why then are we so often so much harder on ourselves than we are on those we love? Self-compassion is about extending that same kindness and understanding inward. It's about treating ourselves with the same care and concern that we would offer to a loved one. It's about recognizing that we're all doing the best we can with what we have in this moment. And it's about reminding ourselves that we are worthy of love and belonging, imperfections and all. Let's talk about boundaries, not as these rigid walls we put up to keep people out, but as something much more compassionate. Think of boundaries as the lines we draw to define what's okay and what's not okay in our lives, what we will accept and what we won't. You see, boundaries are really about self-respect. They're a way of saying, I value myself enough to protect my time, my energy, my emotions. We all have things that drain us, that leave us feeling depleted. Maybe it's certain people, certain conversations, or even certain commitments we make. Learning to set healthy boundaries means learning to say no to those things, even when it's uncomfortable. And it will be uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to people-pleasing or putting others' needs before your own. But here's the thing. When you start setting boundaries, you're not just protecting yourself from being drained and depleted. You're actually creating space for the things that truly matter to you, the things that light you up and make you feel alive. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Renee, setting boundaries sounds selfish. What about the people who need me? Here's the truth. We can't pour from an empty cup. We can't show up fully for the people we love if we're constantly depleted and running on fumes. Setting boundaries isn't about being selfish. It's about being strategic with our energy so that we can show up as our best selves. And sometimes that means disappointing people. It means having hard conversations. It means saying no when everyone else is saying yes. But here's the beautiful paradox. When you find the courage to disappoint others in service of your well-being, you actually become more capable of showing up authentically in all your relationships. Think about the people in your life who have strong boundaries. Don't you respect them more? Don't you trust them more? When you're clear about your boundaries, people know what to expect from you. They know you're not going to be everything to everyone. They know you have limits. And paradoxically, that makes you more trustworthy. It shows that you're not afraid to be real, to be vulnerable, to be human. And in that authenticity, in that willingness to honor your own needs, you give others permission to do the same. You create a ripple effect of self-respect and healthy boundaries that extends far beyond yourself. We've talked about setting boundaries, about owning our stories, but what about when we stumble? What happens when we make mistakes? When we fall short of our own expectations? This is where self-compassion becomes essential. You see, we tend to be incredibly compassionate towards others, offering support and understanding when they're struggling. But when it comes to ourselves, we often unleash the inner critic, the voice of judgment and self-doubt. Self-compassion is about turning that same kindness inward. It's about treating ourselves with the same care and understanding that we would offer a loved one. It's about recognizing that we are all imperfect, we all make mistakes, and that's okay. Because true self-worth isn't about being perfect. It's about embracing our whole selves, flaws and all, with love and acceptance. And that includes extending that same grace to ourselves, especially when we need it most. The first step towards cultivating self-compassion is becoming aware of that inner critic, that voice that whispers we're not good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. It's about noticing when it pops up, acknowledging its presence without judgment, and then choosing a different path. Because here's the thing about the inner critic. It thrives on shame. It wants us to believe we're inherently flawed, that we don't deserve love and belonging. But that's simply not true. Instead of listening to that voice, we can choose to speak to ourselves with kindness and understanding. We can remind ourselves that everyone makes mistakes, that setbacks are a part of life, and that we are worthy of love and compassion, even when we stumble. This isn't about denying our struggles or pretending everything is perfect. It's about approaching ourselves with a gentle and loving heart. recognizing that we are doing the best we can with what we have in this moment. Self-compassion is a practice, a conscious choice we make each and every day to show up for ourselves with kindness and understanding. It's about letting go of the need for perfection and embracing our imperfections as part of what makes us human. It's about recognizing that our worthiness is not dependent on our achievements or our mistakes. We are worthy simply because we exist, because we are human, with all our complexities and contradictions. When we cultivate self-compassion, we create a safe and supportive inner landscape where we can truly thrive. We begin to let go of self-judgment and embrace ourselves with more love and acceptance. And from this place of self-compassion, we can move through the world with more courage, resilience, and authenticity, knowing that we are enough, just as we are. Our minds are incredibly powerful. The things we tell ourselves, the stories we repeat in our heads, have a profound impact on how we see ourselves and the world around us. For far too long, many of us have allowed that inner dialogue to be dominated by self-doubt, criticism, and fear. But what if we could consciously shift that narrative? What if we could rewire our brains to focus on self-love, empowerment, and possibility? That's the incredible power of positive affirmations. Positive affirmations are short, powerful statements that affirm the qualities we want to cultivate within ourselves. They are declarations of self-worth, reminders of our strength, and expressions of our deepest desires. And while they might seem simple on the surface, they have the ability to shift our mindset, boost our self-belief, and create lasting change in our lives. Because when we consistently feed our minds with positive and empowering messages, we begin to embody those qualities from the inside out. The key to creating effective affirmations is to make them personal, positive, and present tense. Start by identifying the areas in your life where you want to experience more self-love and worthiness. Maybe you want to feel more confident in your body, more courageous in pursuing your dreams, or more deserving of love and connection. Whatever it is, craft affirmations that speak directly to those desires. Instead of focusing on what you want to change or what you lack, phrase your affirmations in the positive, affirming what you are moving towards. For example, instead of saying, "I am not afraid of failure," try, "I am courageous and capable of achieving my goals." And finally, state your affirmations in the present tense, as if they are already true. This sends a powerful message to your subconscious mind, helping you to embody those qualities right now. The most effective way to experience the transformative power of positive affirmations is to integrate them into your daily routine. Find a time and place where you can connect with yourself without distractions, whether it's first thing in the morning, during your commute, or before you go to bed. Write your affirmations down in a journal, speak them out loud with conviction, or even create vision boards with images that represent your desired state. As you repeat your affirmations, really feel the words resonate within you. Visualize yourself embodying those qualities, and allow yourself to believe in the possibility of creating the life you desire. Remember, change takes time and consistency. Be patient with yourself, be kind to yourself, and trust that as you continue to nourish your mind with self-love and positivity, you will begin to witness a profound shift in your sense of self-worth and overall well-being. Building unshakable self-worth is a journey, not a destination. It's about embracing our whole selves, imperfections and all, and showing up for ourselves with love and compassion every single day. I hope these steps have provided you with a roadmap, a starting point for cultivating a deeper sense of self-love and worthiness. Remember, you are worthy. You are enough, just as you are. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. Share your biggest takeaways in the comments below, and let's continue this conversation. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos on personal growth, self-love, and living a more authentic life. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.